Yo, what's going on? All right, let's get right into this. Welcome to the live stream. This is Edward Williams, founder and creator of Health by Any Necessary. And once again, not telling anyone what to think. I'm just asking everyone to think for themselves, uh, have a critical thought, look at the evidence, be objective, and come up with your own solution on how you should take care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, your health is your responsibility. If you are the head of a household, then their health is your responsibility. All right. Therefore, it stands to reason that you should have a huge role as it pertains to making the decision for yourself and your family. And that decision should be based upon facts. Okay. It shouldn't be based on where people are just wagging their finger at you, telling you what to do. It shouldn't be based on the herd mentality. It shouldn't be based on being bullied. And it shouldn't be based off of emotions. Okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm not telling you what to do as pertains to vaccine, no vaccine. You do what you believe is best for you. Okay. I have no interest in telling you all what to do. All I'm saying and all I'm asking is that we look at the evidence that is available and be objective and question everything and everyone. It's okay. Um, I've been making these videos for the past couple of days, and I'm getting a decent amount of pushback, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Trust me, that's nothing. It's light work. Um, but people all it seems like people have a feeling, or they have this thought that I don't have the right to ask these questions, or they don't have the right to ask these questions, or just the simple citizens don't have the right to ask that question. One, if you are an American citizen, you have the right to ask questions. Two, if you pay taxes, you definitely have the right to ask questions, specifically when it comes to what I'm going to show you in this video with the other videos, because you may have been involved in funding research that if you knew about ahead of time, you wouldn't have want anything to do with. But we'll wait till the video starts playing, and you can answer those questions yourself. So once again, that's what I'm here. I'm presenting a different perspective. I'm presenting different information that a lot of people are not being exposed to, and a way of thinking a lot of people are not looking at, because you're surrounded by a lot of yes men and a lot of yes women who are afraid, and all they want to do is just put a blanket over the head, bend over, and just let whatever happens is going to happen. You have to understand that once you bend over and let whatever happens, you have to understand that you have children, or maybe you don't have kids, or maybe you have nieces and nephews, or whoever you have. You have to understand that there's another generation coming up behind us, and whatever rights and liberties we pass over, we hand over, they're going to have to be the ones to deal with that. And so it is absolutely okay to ask questions. It's absolutely okay to stand up and think for yourself. And if you agree, then go along with it. And if you don't agree, then you need to stand up. All right. This whole thing about just cowering and sticking your head in the sand and just letting them do what they do because they're the experts. Yeah, that's never happened before, right? Um, so what last year, some of you may remember, um, some of you may not remember, but there was an article that came out from Newsweek, which is the one that I reposted, and the article came out talking about evidence that this whole pandemic, this whole coronavirus that we're dealing with, may have come from a lab, and so it was considered to be the lab leak hypothesis. I posted that on all my platforms, Instagram and Facebook, and it was taken down. It was taken down, and I reposted it from a reputable uh, website, Newsweek, which I thought it would be fine. I didn't make any comments on it, or I might have put a caption on it, but I didn't make any claims. All I did was just repost it. All right, and that was taken down. Had a strike against the account, and I was already seeing that because of the other postings that I was making as far as, like you're in charge of your health. Right now, you need to make sure your vitamin D levels are on point. You need to make sure you exercise. Like I was saying all those things, and I was saying, the mask and vaccine alone are not going to save you. Saying the same thing that I was saying back then that I'm saying right now. My message has been consistent. Unlike some of your other experts, and once again, mind you, I'm not saying everybody's going to be perfect, but to not be perfect and act like you are perfect and you are beyond questioning is a problem. And that's what we have right now with our fearless leader and the people who are quote unquote supposedly leading us through this whole entire situation. How would you feel if you found out that the person leading you through this whole entire situation that we're dealing with may have possibly, might, maybe, all those things, may have had a hand in this whole situation as far as the research and studying of it? Well, last year, that was considered to be conspiracy theory. People were being censored. I was censored for sure. If you were to post about that, you would have there would be repercussions. But now, apparently, it's okay to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into this first video. I have two videos to show you, and I have one article to show you, and then I have, actually, I have one definition I want to show you all. So I want to show you all a definition before we get started. Let me go ahead and share that with you. Once again, while you're watching this, go ahead, like the video, share the video, and once again, not telling you what to think. I just want you all to make sure you think it for yourself. All right. So let me go ahead and share this. So right now, what you should see is a Wikipedia page for a term called straw man. All right. This definition is going to be important because when I show you this hearing in front of Congress, if you understand what straw man means, you'll see that someone, I'm not saying any name, but someone may be using that. But straw man is a form of argument, an informal fallacy of having the impression of refuting an argument, whereas the real subject of the argument was not addressed or refuted, but instead replaced with a false one. So also, to continue on, one who engages in this fallacy is said to be attacking a straw man. So, in other words, let me remove this real quick. So, in other words, this is when you're having an argument or a back and forth with someone, and you're talking about one subject, and it's very clear that you're talking about one subject. But while you're in that subject, talking about it, going back and forth about it, the person you're going back and forth with latches on to something else you said and creates an argument out of that. And then you move from the original argument, and now you're in a new argument. And because this person feels that they can defeat this argument, they can win this argument, they go all in on that, attacking that argument. But that argument is not real because we're not even talking about that. You left the original argument. And that's what's called a straw man argument. So I want you all to remember that definition. Let's go ahead and go to the first video. All right. All right. So I'll pause it here and there, but let's go ahead and get started.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
Okay, so Senator Rand Paul, his argument is dealing with gain of function research. Fauci is saying that the paper that I have, up and down, everyone agrees it's not gain of function research.
What was? Let me finish.
Taking animal virus.
Hold on.
Of function.
Because these boys get a little spicy. Hold on. And watch, yo. Fauci can get sassy, man. Watch his head bobbles, man. Anytime Fauci gets a little energy, he gets a little sassy, man. His head stop bobbling. let's. All right, let me try to keep this thing serious.
Not being gain of function.
So
What
you're
was,
saying when
let
you
me
take-
finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what
Ooh.
you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to.
Yo, he mad. He mad. How dare you question me? How dare you question me?
About, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
Tell him.
Okay, you get one person.
Let's read from the NIH definition of gain of function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
Okay.
And let's send Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well.
Now, remember, we talked about straw man argument. Let's continue.
Now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award.
Yo, who? He didn't say that. Hold on. Let's go back to what Rand Paul said.
4 million people dying around the world from, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's send Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a minute.
My man just said we don't know. I'm not saying that. Fauci's saying that, and Fauci's, you see, he's going on offense right now. Let him finish.
Lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It is molecularly.
You hear Rand Paul saying we're not even claiming that. Like, where you going, bro? Like, where you going? Like, you just made a term. We're not claiming that. We just want to know about gain of function. Yo, Fauci, semantics. Fauci is getting so detailed. If you are saying that the viruses that we published in the report that we detailed, if you're trying to say that those things that we put in that paper cause this, he's like, yo, we're not saying that. We're just trying to get the answer for the gain of function.
Those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain of function. No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It is molecularly.
Those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain of function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is not.
Get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth. You're the one.
Time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible to result in SARS-CoV-2.
Nobody's saying that.
We're saying they are gain of function viruses because they were animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And you
admit the truth.
And you implying.
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
So you can see Fauci was trying to take him out into the deep water where he knew that Rand Paul could not swim by saying that he was making an argument about the molecular structure. And Rand Paul was like, yo, whoa, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to, all I'm saying is that you participated in gain of function. And Fauci's all the way out here, like, come out into the deep. Let's talk about the molecules. Let's talk about the structure. Let's talk about the actual details. And Rand Paul is like, nah, I'm not going out there because it's not necessary. We need to deal with this gain of function research. Did you or did you not? That's what I'm dealing with. And so that's a straw man argument because Fauci is creating something to argue about that it's not a claim. And you know what this is like? You know what this is like? A good example of this would be a guy being accused of cheating. And then he's like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait, if all of this is because you are saying that I slept with her, then that is where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. I did not sleep with her. I resent that. Now, if you're trying to say I had sex with her, that's a little different. But we didn't sleep. We did not sleep. That's what's going on. That's what seems like it's going on. All right. Let's get to another video, and then we're gonna close this thing out. So before we get to that video, let me pull up this article real quick. This article came out last week. I've been going through it, and I've been going through some other documentations about it. So let's see. Stop screen share. Where is that? All right, there it goes. All right, can you all see that? So this is called The Intercept. So if you want to read this article in depth, go ahead and go over there. It's called intercept.com. Anything I'm showing you is not that I'm supportive, it's because the evidence is there. Okay, so whether I'm showing you a video or whatever like that, I don't do the whole red green thing, bro. So stop. I mean, red blue thing. So stop. So here's this article. New details emerge about coronavirus research at Chinese lab. More than 900 pages of material related to U.S.-funded coronavirus research in China were released following FOIA, this is like Freedom of Information Act, lawsuit by The Intercept. And so we're not going to go through this article, but this is the article that the next video is going to be referring to, and I want you all to check that out. Let's go ahead and get to that video, and then we're going to close this thing out because once again, I'm not trying to make anyone think anything. I'm just asking that you think and that you expose yourself to other information that you may not be seeing. Now, mind you, this is our fearless leader leading us through this thing, and he is actually being brought up to be questioned about questions about possibly doing experiments that could have possibly created this thing that we're dealing with. Just think about that for a minute. Just think about that for a minute. Now let's go ahead and go to this this video. All right.
The documents from the National Institutes of Health, obtained by The Intercept through a Freedom of Information request, provide more evidence that the U.S. government funded research into manipulating bat viruses at China's Wuhan Institute of Virology, and in fact making them more virulent to humans through so-called gain-of-function research, a process that can...
So everything that they're explaining in this video, they're pulling it from this new the new papers that came out. So when they're talking about the evidence and they're showing you the pictures of the papers, that's what they're referring to.
Can have two very different purposes, either to weaponize
Let's run that back. Let's run that back.
The so-called gain-of-function research, a process that can have two very different purposes, either to weaponize viruses or to build vaccines against them. The 900 pages of new material were reviewed by Richard E. Bright, a molecular biologist at Rutgers University, who told The Intercept, quote, "The documents make it clear that assertions by the NIH Director Francis Collins and NIAID Director Anthony Fauci that the NIH did not support gain-of-function research are untruthful."
All right. So the papers are saying that him saying that he did not support gain of function is not true. But this is what the paper is saying. It's not what I'm saying. Don't sue me. All right.
In a heated exchange with Senator Rand Paul last June, Fauci denied the U.S.-funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you're referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly.
On Tuesday, after the release of the new NIH documents, Senator Paul noted the U.S. to this very day continues to send funding to the Wuhan lab. He repeated his claim that Fauci lied and said he had already sent a criminal referral to the Department of Justice.
I don't think Biden's Department of Justice will do anything.
So once again, based on these documents that just came out, it's suggesting, or they're saying, that what he denied was a lie.
With it, but yes, it is very dangerous to have public officials who we need to have trust in coming and lying to us. But he has lied dozens of times. Usually he tells us that it's for our own good, but yes, he has dissembled, he has obfuscated, there's other nicer words, but he has definitely lied to the American public, and he should be held responsible. But not just that, the judgment that we should continue to fund this lab and that the virus in all likelihood came from the lab, I think is such incredibly poor judgment that he should be immediately removed.
Fauci's righteous indignation over Senator Paul's accusations may stem from good intentions gone bad. The NIH's funding for the Wuhan lab was paid to an international nonprofit called the EcoHealth.
All right, this is important. This is important. Let me rewind it back a little bit.
NIH's funding for the Wuhan lab was paid to an international nonprofit called the EcoHealth Alliance, headed by Peter Daszak.
So we go to find out.
Okay, so here is the guy of that foundation that they were talking about, and this is the guy where the money went to. Okay, so this is December 9th, 2019, and here's what he's saying.
Foundations and say, look, you've been trying to stop the wild.
That's headed by Peter Daszak.
So we go to foundations and say, look, you've been trying to stop the wildlife trade in China for 20 years. You've put all this money into it. If you have a health angle to that, it really does work. The markets, the wildlife markets in China were never closed down because of, ethical concerns. Or
what is he talking about? What is he talking about? He just said if you want to shut down the wet market, y'all remember the wet market, right? When this whole thing popped off, they were talking about wet market, bat soup, and all that stuff. And he's saying that he goes around to other places and other corporation groups, foundations, or whatever, and says, particularly this one, he's talking about, you're not going to shut them down just by, asking them to shut it down. You got to come from it at a health angle. And then we could possibly shut it down. Once again, not my words. This is this guy saying this. Let's rewind it back a little bit.
Good intentions gone bad. The NIH's funding for the Wuhan lab was paid to an international nonprofit called the EcoHealth Alliance, headed by Peter Daszak.
So we go to foundations and say, look, you've been trying to stop the wildlife trade in China for 20 years. You've put all this money into it. If you have a health angle to that, it really does work. The markets, the wildlife markets in China were never closed down because of, ethical concerns or conservation. But the minute SARS emerged, they closed them down.
Right. In this December 2019 interview, Daszak described how there are hundreds of SARS viruses lurking in bats and other wild animals that have potential transmissibility to livestock and to humans. The key to preventing a terrible human toll, Daszak said, is to obtain viral specimens from those wild animals and do gain-of-function research to craft an effective human vaccine.
You can manipulate them in the lab pretty easily. It's just spike protein drives a lot of what happens with the coronavirus, zoonotic risk. So you can get the sequence, you can build the protein, insert it into a backbone of another virus, right, and do some work in the lab. So you can get more predictive and get a better vaccine.
For Daszak, Fauci, and the National Institutes of Health, the problem may not have been in their intention to develop a vaccine through gain-of-function research, but rather in naively trusting a closed authoritarian government to do the right thing once that virus had escaped.
All right, bro. All right, so maybe it was a coincidence. You know, maybe this whole entire thing is a coincidence. Maybe there's nothing to it at all. You know, who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that it looks suspicious. Um, to me, this is my opinion. I'm not making any claims, but I'm just saying to me, it looks a little suspicious. Um, to me, you know, I have an issue with the guy who's mandating that everyone get this vaccine for a pandemic, that he has a lot of unanswered questions surrounding his name. I have a problem with that being the guy who's supposedly leading us through this whole entire thing. I have a problem with the possibility that he may have had a hand in the creation of it, and now telling me what I need to do with my body. I have a problem with that. I mean, maybe you all don't have a problem with it. And if you don't, that's completely fine. You know, that's your right. But I take issue with it because I get it. While the citizens, the normal everyday people are back and forth arguing about the basic stuff, you know, mask or no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, social distance, don't do it. You know, we're arguing and babbling back and forth about these little things while not pressing these folks, because we can't let the mandates go one way. If you're going to mandate that I put something in my body, I'm going to mandate that you answer these questions. I'm going to mandate that someone explain this. I'm going to mandate that you step down, because it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Something suspicious is going on here. It doesn't look right at all. And according to these papers, this guy is not innocent in this whole entire thing. That's just according to these papers. Not my opinion, but just according to the papers. All right, so the link for those videos are going to be in the description. The link for the actual article is going to be in the description. You all let me know what you think. You know, comment below. Let me know what you all think. But at the end of the day, like I always say, your health is your responsibility. It would not make sense to trust them with your health. All right. I'm talking about taking care of the basics. You know, cool. You want to go off and argue about vaccine, no vaccine, mask, no mask, social distancing, cool. I get it. But ask yourself, are you drinking water? Are you eliminating all soda and juice? Are you doing your best to make yourself the healthiest version you can, version of yourself that you can during this pandemic? Are you walking? Are you doing any form of exercise? You see, the whole debate thing is sexy. It's attractive. It feels good. It looks good. But regardless of which side you're on, get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine, are you doing the work? Because there are laws to health. There are fundamental laws to health. And you can ignore them if you want. But you know what won't ignore you? Type 2 diabetes will not ignore you. Heart attacks won't ignore you. Strokes. These things will not ignore you. Dialysis, amputations, blindness, kidney failure. These things, they don't ignore you. If you create the environment for them to invade, it's going to happen, and they won't ignore you, and no medication in the world will be able to save you. So it stands to reason that you have to do the work. Do the work. I only bring these things up to you all because I want you to think for yourself, and I want you to also understand that you have to make your own decisions as pertains to the foundations of your health. Okay, pull yourself out of those categories. We understand that 94.9% of the people who are hospitalized have a underlying health condition. Those underlying health conditions being high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, obesity, lipid disorder. And we also understand that obesity has a high mortality rate as pertains to those affected with COVID-19. If you know that, work on pulling yourself out of those categories. And the way you do it is by doing the basic stuff. I'm not telling you all to go out and get a gym membership. I'm not telling you all to go out and buy some kind of crazy diet plan. I'm not telling you all to do any of those things. I'm telling you all to start with the basics. Walk every day. Drink water. Cut out the sodas and juices. A lot of improvement will come from just cutting out the trash, which is the processed foods and the drinks, sodas. Get your vitamin D levels to where they need to be. Yes, I sell vitamin D. Link is in the description. Get outside. Get sunlight. Get fresh air. Talk about positive things. Get around positive people versus being around the crap that a lot of us are taking in on a daily basis through social media. All right, eat whole foods. Get fiber. Drink a green smoothie. And of course, fast. Fasting is my gospel. Do your best not to have last anything after 6 p.m. at the latest 8 p.m., which is already pretty late. And then see how far you can go throughout the day without eating anything. Just drink water. This is not health advice. This is not medical advice. If you're diabetic, if you have a medical condition, things are a little different for you. If you want a consultation, I absolutely do consultations. You can definitely contact me for a consultation. But other than that, your health is your responsibility. All right. So that's it. Share the video. I'm going to get off. We got a movie to go to with the fam. And I'll highlight y'all later. I love y'all. This is our community, our responsibility. We have what it takes. We just got to put in the work. Peace.